Tobin Levinson, who brought Hits Together, formerly of the Bookworm, employed Sharon Samuels, who introduced me to Gail Burston. They were all of the militant Jewish community. Levinson knew I had been kidnapped and tortured. She made that clear in eye contact she made with me at the film. I guess it was 5 days in May. Well, what we learned today is that the syndicate behind the AIDS attack has marketed through pornographic institutions who are disturbing to sandbaggers like Chris Hedges, amusing to crooked leaders like Norm Finkelstein, I presume, and hot commodities to crowds like Hustler magazine. We've learned that these syndicates, who don't need no education, don't need no thought control, who don't like schools, who make films like Kids that make nothing of children being inebriated and then infected with AIDS. Tent bombers in the child smut rings. We learned that these people are presenting, with the help of Clint Eastwood, man, and George Takei, man, and Martin Sheen, man, and Fetterman, the notion of John Lennon as the chivalrous knight defending prostitutes. Chivalry for a whore is what they call it on Adam 12. Chivalry for a whore. And this is the one-size-fits-all, whole is greater than some of its parts concept that unites everybody to get behind the people who released the AIDS virus because it was cleanup time. And the whole affair is about, is Seattle going to get the money? They had it all designed. It can't be denied that that's what the fact. Andrew Swimmer was a slur promoter. The Tubes seem to have known about her. Zappa and the Tubes seem to have referred to her on Boy Crazy and Broadway the Hard Way. I thought she was with Bronstein. I still do, because of the way he would sneer. Slurs were his mentality. She was a human slur. She worked with Jaime Carbonell. It takes a lot of tinkering with the establishment to promote somebody working with the Society for Military Engineers, McConnell Douglas, Carnegie Mellon University, like Pete Shell, as a left-winger. It takes a lot of tinkering to get that to play, but because the Morgan family employed Peter Shell, that means he's inherently a left-winger. And his secret tapes were promotion of chivalry for the whore. So we know that hands down is an absolute truth. Everybody in Seattle knows that Gregor Morgan is taught sacredly in the Jericho Project because of Peter's show. We all know that. It's one of those intuitive things. It's a higher order of spinner meaning. Robert Fripp allows you to perceive that. And you perceive the rightness of that. The Gregor Morgan is taught sacredly, the ultra left, in Chivalry for a Whore. And they have a C and a Star of David that they rip and murder Shannon Harps. She's inconsequential, but she's not a child in the tent. She's an American woman. Oh, there's a big difference between a child in the tent and an American woman. When the people massacring the children in the tents slash are the American woman. Don't get them confused. No. Toba says no. Toba says don't get Shannon Harps confused with the children in Gaza tents. Just because the same people killed them both doesn't give you the right to get them confused. So now that we've settled that and gotten that straight, let's talk about Sharon Samuels' call to me, click were to announce that she will not be talked out of an abortion. No. Straight from the soundtrack of Revolution Number 9. Who did it go to? Trump's mission. James W. Child, author of The Moral Dimension of Nuclear War, living in Julie Sellers' house, who was named in the Burson script and was best friends with Fetterman's hottest commodity. So don't get that confused with John Schulman and Leslie Katz. We don't need to get these things straight. What we need to do is get along with Paul McCartney's infinite absolutism. The whole is greater than the sum of its parts because we are all united in chivalry for a whore. Okay? And the fact that these people release the AIDS is neither here or there. We still owe chivalry to the whore. This is Union United abrogation of American protection of children. A public school's obligation to determine where children are when they cry that they're going to be murdered and then disappear. We don't take those things seriously. What we take seriously is that Roger Waters doesn't have to tell us how many millions of dollars he has stashed in a sock in Jamaica and Sweden, because he came up with the intuitive subliminal broadcast that John Lennon meant chivalry for Don't Say Whore. Chivalry for Don't Say Whore has an IUD. Chivalry for Don't Say Whore, who was sleeping with a man who tried to smuggle me into Climax 1 where I didn't want to go, as I vomited out the window from sex intoxication at the age of 13 in the state of tears and trauma. Don't say whore. Don't say George Takei was from Star Trek when you're hiding that John Lennon pulled a Houdini, because that'll make people think he was beamed up. There's no such thing as a beam up. Don't say Jack Ruby and Charlie Manson had the same psychiatrist and that Jack Ruby was represented by another man from Star Trek. And don't say George Takei starred in the Green Berets. It opens with a Marine singing in German, and with John Wayne. Don't say John Wayne had a picture taken with Lee Harvey Oswald in the Naval Mess Hall. Don't say Toon laid a white rose outside a synagogue that I frequented after killing some of my oldest friends in the neighborhood. Don't say that that white rose symbolized Circe Kennedy. Don't say these things, because the People Are Real Project believes that innocent people are cannon fodder. See, Shannon Harps wasn't slashed or murdered by Ripper Hatters. That's not the truth of sound mental health, no. Shannon Harps was humanized. Humanized. If you don't believe me, ask Veteran. You don't believe me, ask Irene. She was humanized. So we don't say her with an IUD who chased up little queer ball up a tree because he wouldn't take off his pants when she told him to in front of a gang who was laughing at him stark naked in the park. We don't say queer ball should be humanized and called by his proper name. Not until Robert Card gets that Robert Card. No. We say Shannon Harps was humanized. That's what we say.